You know, the most valuable marketing asset a SaaS company owns isn't its ad budget, it's the free plan. But if you ever wondered why some of these free plans quietly generate millions while others are just a massive drain on resources? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most powerful strategies out there, the freemium model. We're going to see how the world's most successful software companies have turned their free products into these relentless profit engines. And spoiler alert, it's not magic. It's a meticulously engineered system designed to guide you from a free user to a paying customer almost without you even noticing.
I know. That sounds totally backward, right? Giving your product away for free, that feels like a cost, a liability. I mean, it's server space, it's customer support, it's development time, all for users who aren't paying you a single cent. But here's the thing, the smartest companies in the world, they understand this isn't a cost center, it's an investment. The free plan is the ultimate Trojan horse for sustainable growth. It's a way to get your product in the hands of thousands, maybe even millions of potential customers without a single salesperson getting involved.
And that brings us right to the central mystery, doesn't it? Why do some free plans generate millions in revenue, seemingly on autopilot, while others just become this black hole for resources, attracting armies of users who will never ever pay a dime? What is that secret ingredient that separates a financial success from a costly failure? Well, the difference isn't luck, and it's not about how generous the users are. It's all in the design.
So check this out. There are really only two possible outcomes. Over on the left, you've got what we call the freeloader trap. This is what happens when a company gives away so much value with no strategic limits that there's just no compelling reason to ever upgrade. It's a fantastic free product, but a terrible business. It just sucks up resources. But on the right, you have the profit machine. And this isn't a giveaway. Oh no. It's a perfectly calibrated system that's designed to guide the right users toward a paid plan, making that upgrade feel not like a choice, but like a logical, even inevitable next step.
To really get how this machine was built, we've got to go back to the crisis that made it necessary in the first place. See, the freemium model wasn't just some clever marketing idea that someone had one day. It was a solution to a huge economic problem that was crippling the entire software industry.
And that problem? It was the soaring cost of acquiring a customer. The old way of selling software was just so expensive and slow. I'm talking sales teams flying across the country, long on-site demos, complicated contract negotiations that could drag on for months. As more and more companies flooded the market, the cost to get a customer's attention just skyrocketed, and it made that traditional sales model completely unsustainable for growth.
This timeline here shows the evolution perfectly. You start with that expensive, old-school sales model. Then, wham, the customer acquisition crisis hits, and companies realize they're actually losing money on every new customer they bring in. The solution was freemium. It completely flips the model on its head. Instead of a salesperson telling you the product is valuable, the product shows you its value. It's a zero-risk, self-service evaluation that lets you prove the value to yourself, on your own terms, and at your own pace.
And this shift, it wasn't just about sales. It was driven by investors. They wanted predictable, scalable business models. They wanted to see high net dollar retention, which is just a fancy way of saying your existing customers stick around and actually spend more money over time. They wanted predictable revenue they could plug into a spreadsheet, and freemium, it delivered exactly that. It allowed companies to grow super quickly and use real product data to forecast revenue, which, believe me, is music to an investor's ears.
So the economic pressure created the need. But how does this conversion engine actually work? Let's break it down, piece by piece, and see how it creates this system that converts users with almost zero human intervention.
The whole system can be broken down into this really elegant three-step loop. First up is the free tier, which I like to call the habit engine. Its only job is to provide so much core value that you integrate it deeply into your daily workflow. You become dependent on it. Then comes step 2, the conversion trigger. Now this isn't a punishment, it's a carefully engineered friction point that actually signals your own success. And third is the paid tier, which is positioned not as an upsell, but as the immediate, perfect solution to that friction.
Let's really focus on this key term, the conversion trigger. This is not a random pop-up asking for your money. No, it's a precise, automated event that only happens when your behavior proves that you are deeply engaged. It's the moment your own success outgrows the free plan. And that signal, it's pure gold. It tells the company that you're not just a casual user, you're a power user who has found immense value and is ready for more.
And here's a perfect concrete example. Imagine a project management tool, and the free plan is limited to 5 team members. So a team starts using it, they love it, it becomes the central hub for all their work. Projects are flowing, communication is smooth, it's great.
Then one day they hire a new person, and the manager goes to invite them to the tool. Boom! That action, trying to add that sixth person, that is the conversion trigger. And at that exact moment, the system can offer the paid plan as the solution to their very specific, very immediate growth problem.
Now, the mechanics are smart, but what makes them so incredibly effective is the deep human psychology they leverage. This isn't just about features and limits. It's about tapping into these fundamental principles of how we all think and behave.
The main psychological driver here is something called the endowment effect. This is a well-documented cognitive bias where we place a higher value on things we already own. So after using a free product for weeks or months, you're setting up projects, you're uploading critical data, customizing dashboards, integrating it into your workflow, you no longer feel like you're just using a tool. You feel a sense of psychological ownership over it. It's your system, your data, your workflow.
And this is the crucial point, right here. When you hit that conversion trigger, the decision to upgrade isn't framed as buying something new. It's framed as protecting something you already have. The upgrade becomes a form of insurance, a way to avoid the pain and loss of that efficient workflow you've spent weeks building. And behavioral science is crystal clear on this. We humans are far more motivated to avoid a loss than we are to achieve a gain.
The second lever at play is the principle of consistency. We are wired to maintain stable patterns in our lives. So, when a product becomes part of a daily habit, paying to remove a little friction point and continue that habit is often way easier than the alternative. Finding a whole new product, migrating all your data, and retraining your entire team. The upgrade is positioned as the logical next step to maintain consistency. It's the path of least resistance.
Okay, so we get the history, we get the psychology. Now let's get practical. How do you actually design a paywall that works? How do you engineer this system for yourself? This is where the theory becomes a blueprint for mastery. This slide shows the single most important rule of this entire strategy. You have to lock capacity, never the core value. Why? Because think about it. If a user can't save their work or export their data, they can never form a habit. They can never build that sense of ownership. But if you give them the full core experience and only limit their capacity, like storage space or number of teammates, you're encouraging them to go all in. You're ensuring that when they hit that limit, they're already fully committed.
So here is the blueprint. First, you isolate that conversion moment by defining clear, quantifiable limits based on your most engaged users. Second, you engineer the paywall not as a gate, but as an efficiency solution, a bridge that solves the user's immediate growth pain point. And third, you obsessively measure a metric called time to trigger. Time to trigger, or TTT, measures the average time it takes a new user to hit that paywall. And this metric is absolutely critical. A shorter TTT is a direct sign of strong product-market fit. It means new users are finding value so quickly that they're immediately pushing the limits of the free plan. For a freemium business, making your TTT shorter is one of the most powerful things you can possibly do to accelerate growth.
All right, let's bring this all together. When you combine an economic necessity with a precise mechanical loop and these powerful psychological principles, you create a system where the upgrade feels less like a decision and more like a natural, even inevitable conclusion.
Ultimately, this entire model is about the predictable automation of human habit. That's it. It uses product data to identify the exact moment a user has formed a deep attachment, and then it applies the psychology of ownership and consistency to guide them to a paid plan. It's a perfect system built on value, habit, and timing. And this really gets to the heart of the philosophy. A traditional sales funnel, it feels like you're being pushed, right? This system is different. It's about pulling users toward value. You give them a powerful tool for free, you let them build something meaningful with it, and then you simply offer them a way to make it even better when they're ready.
And that is the ultimate secret. The whole system works because at that moment of truth, paying becomes the simplest, most logical path forward. It's not a hard sell. It's just an easy way to protect the value they've already built and continue the workflow they already know and love.